luckily, Stephanopoulos asked a few follow-up questions.
For those who were vaccinated on the early end, those who were vaccinated back in December and January, how concerned should they be about the possibility that their protection may fade over time? May have faded already.
Wow, this is some of the data and evidence we are watching really carefully. We are watching for breakthrough infections. We're monitoring this really carefully, and that's some of the science that we're waiting to emerge before we liberalize our guidance. It's the reason we're taking these baby steps.
So I heard this a lot. We're waiting for the science. Science is now a new word for data that we did not gather during the trials. And as is evidenced here by Dr.
You can stop right. That is absolutely what they're doing. This is a giant experiment.
Yep.
Instead of a trial, they just decided to roll it out and let the public be damned.
Yep. We're guinea pigs.
That's exactly what she meant when she said we're waiting for the science. We're waiting for the science. If this thing actually did get thrown through the whole real system, it would have never been approved.
Which is why it's emergency use authorization and not approved.
And somebody, by the way, pointed out there's a lot of lawsuits going on now because one person found that if you're required to take the vaccine under whatever circumstance, like you work at a hospital or whatever, and they make it mandatory. If you start looking at the law, U.S. code, it's very difficult to make it mandatory to take an experimental
vaccine, of course. It's crazy. And Jen Psaki on TikTok is propagating the lie.
This means that anywhere you go to get a vaccine, you should just take that vaccine. They've all been approved by the FDA.
No.
These 3 vaccines.
No.
And hopefully it will expand access and to make more doses available across the country more quickly.
Lie, not approved. It is not FDA approved. But Fauci is going to take it one level higher. He's going to explain that you are being experimented on, that they don't have any data. It's just that they call it science.
You know from the Biden administration that they say it will make its decisions based on science. What's the science behind not saying it's safe for people who have been vaccinated, received 2 doses, to travel?
You know, that's a very good question, John, and the CDC is carefully heading in that direction. When Dr. Walensky made the announcement a day or 2 ago about the fact that when you have a couple of people, 2 or 3 or more people in a family setting, both of whom are vaccinated, even if it's someone from a friend that doesn't have to be a member of the family, that was the first in a multi-step process that they are going to be rolling out. They're being careful, understandably. They want to get science. They want to get data. And then when you don't have the data and you don't have the actual evidence, then you've got to make a judgment call. And I think that's what you're going to be seeing in the next weeks. You're going to see little by little more and more guidelines getting people to be more and more flexible. The first installation of this is what can vaccinated people do in the home setting. Obviously, the next one is going to be what you're asking. What about travel? What about going out? What about getting a haircut? What about doing things like that? That's all imminently going to be coming out.
He said it right there. We don't have the data. So we're just making a judgment call. That doesn't sound very scientific.
Doesn't sound scientific to me.
And the
judgment call is not scientific.